We're live.
We're live. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to another Monday Night Monster Jam. Um, Thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight we are going to be working on mask. So if you caught last week's episode, or if you did not, which was episode 18, we started sculpting a half mask. And basically, what we're going to do tonight is continue that half mask development. And we're working in wet clay, and you will see what we come up with, or what I come up with, actually. So we're going to be jamming on that tonight. So that'll be most of the episode. And we will do an artist share at 7 o'clock. And, of course, take questions on the process or talk about whatever you guys are working on, things like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Glad you joined us. Sam, what's going on with you? How was your weekend?
That was pretty good. I actually ended up watching Prey on Thursday last week, and I gotta say, I really, really liked that movie.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hopefully last week's review wasn't like me just being a downer on it. I enjoyed watching Prey, but I had some issues with it. Just some of the ideas and some of the things, like, just you know what it is. I was thinking about it a little bit when I saw the first Predator movie. I was a little kid, but I just remember being blown away by how crazy intelligent this creature was. And then Prey, I love the idea of it being set in a different time period, with less technology on both sides of the fence. I love that. But there was, I couldn't help but feel that this Predator was just not that intelligent as it should be. It just seemed like it was getting,
He's a little too subdued compared to other ones.
yeah, he's getting hit by things that normally would never touch him.
Right.
Like the bear and all that stuff. Not, I mean, the bear can obviously smell him, but so it knew he was there, it attacked him, but it.
I thought that bear part was honestly pretty intense. It's like, oh yeah, it's a bear. A bear is just as tall as he is and probably can do like twice the damage. It's like
I like the fight
bear.
between
Yeah.
the bear, although there was some really, if you watch carefully, there's some pretty bad CGI
Yeah,
of the bear running away.
Yeah.
That,
It's the same thing with the jaguar.
yeah. But I like the fight with the bear. That part was awesome. And when he lifted it up over his head, that was really cool. But the part I had more of an issue with is just just overall his, thing is totally camouflaged and being hit by things that normally wouldn't take it out or touch it. I don't know. Just seemed a little, eh, you know. But and a lot of people seem to have a problem with the face, or the look of the face, the change, which is
No, I don't mind. Her ripping out one of the tusks too and shoving it back in his face. I'm like, oh, duh. Why did anybody think of that sooner? Like, maybe it has happened in a previous movie and I just missed it. But like, I'm like, oh, that's freaking smart. Like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was cool. I mean, we enjoyed watching it for sure, but I had some few issues with it. And there was some acting issues, some dialogue and acting things that were kind of like, eh. But overall, I mean, it's enjoyable as hell. I would say to anyone, watch it. I mean, it's far. Look, I've worked on Predator movies, and some of those movies were not what they were supposed to be, and not did not turn out how they were supposed to turn out. And they, unfortunately, that's what happens sometimes. And I mean, and I'm proud of the work that we did, but a lot of times you're out of control of what they're going to do with the movie. The perfect example of that is The Thing. I worked on The Thing 2011. Everything we did at ADI was awesome. We did amazing practical effects, and it just got, as everyone knows, completely ruined with garbage CGI work. Which the funny, ironic part of this is the CGI guys swore up and down how much better their technology would help our effects, and then you go and look, and everyone's like, "Why did they touch that? Why did they do?" So it's a perfect example of that, where it's just not, it's out of our control. But anyway, hats off to the guys on that film for sure. It was nice to just see something different than the norm. Although I'll say it again, my other issue with it is coming to Earth to hunt. I'm so tired of that. I don't want to see another Predator movie where any human is involved. Like take it to their planet, do something interesting and new and fresh. Do not bring the Predator back to Earth to hunt another human being. Like, yeah, enough already. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Besides that, I just this past Sunday, my girlfriend's family had a big old get together, and so
Oh,
was able
cool.
to hang out, eat some delicious food. Great weekend. Really relaxing.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, we God, I had a crazy whirlwind weekend, crazy week, crazy weekend. And the craziness is just continuing. Oh, so for all you guys wondering, the giveaway that we did a couple weeks back, I am up to casting almost all 10 sets. I have 3 sets left to cast. Apologies, it's taking a minute because I got to do this in between a full-time job, family, all the other stuff, and many other projects I have going on. So, appreciate your patience, but I'm almost there, and we will begin painting them soon. So I will begin painting them soon, but there's 3 sets to go that I need to cast, and then I'll have all 10. So I'm almost done. I'm like right there, man. 3 more sets. And then I'll be into the painting the magnets, and then we'll ship them out. So as soon as they shipped out, I know everyone emailed me. I will get back to all of you once I ship it. I will send you an email and with the tracking. So and then you can be on the lookout. Okay. What else we got going down? That's about it. I mean,
Your class.
Oh yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Oh my gosh, good one. So yeah, my class. I'll talk about it again. I know it's beating the drum, and it's the promoting my own garbage. But hey, I have to do it. So bear with us. All right. So I have a class coming up. It is the scariest class of all time. That's what I said. Anyway, it's this weird, creepy funhouse freak monster head I did. You can check my Instagram page and see what this is all about. So October 22nd is the date. It's a Saturday, all day, painting with me at my studio. There's only like 4 or 5 seats left or something like that. So hurry up if you want to get in. It's a great time. I'm going to be showing how to base coat with latex, how to paint over it, how to do washes, rub outs, everything you can think of. So flexible base coats, rub outs, everything. Installing teeth, painting eyes, painting skin, blah, 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 blah. It's a big process. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a full mask head, not like neck and bit, but it is a head. It's not just a half mask, actually. So it's a full head, front and back. And it's a creepy creature mask that I did. This weird. That's kind of based on the Rick Baker Funhouse a little bit, or quite a bit. So you guys want to join in to that class, you definitely want to go to my website, caseylovemonsters.com. Go to the in-person class page, and you can sign up. Like I said, there's maybe only 5 seats left. I only host 10 students at a time when I do these classes. It keeps it so it's private, more hands-on. And the cool thing about the class is you follow me along step by step. So as you run into problems or you're having issues with something or whatever, I can help you. It's really cool. It's a good time. So you're not spending most of the class just watching me demo. You're actually painting along with me the whole entire day. So it's 8 hours of painting and fun. Don't miss out. All right, enough of my own garbage. You already have me here for 2 hours, so you don't need any more of that. All right, so here we are. We are working on this mask. And I just kind of have a basic human form in here, and it's good to, it's good for me to step away from it for the whole week and not even think about it. And then I was able to go back and rework my sketch and some of my design stuff and see if what I want this thing to come out like. So the Cromwell, the Cromwell mask. So what I'm going to start doing is, this is the part where I'm probably going to build up just a tad bit more really quickly. And then I'm going to jump off, I think, into more crazy things, shapes, developing the character. Let's put it that way. So for now, though, I'm going to continue forward here with some structures. And I'm just going to build up a little bit only because I want to make sure that the mask is going to be large enough for, you know, the average wearing person. To think about different head sizes putting this on, and this is, although I do like, personally speaking, I do like tighter form, smaller form-fitted masks. They look a lot better. They look more like they're really part of your face, and they're more full. When you have a giant mask on your head and it's too big and sloppy and all over the place, it just doesn't look realistic, you know. But I get it. Some people don't want a big, suffocate with a tight mask all over their head. But when I design masks for myself, I like them to fit me like perfectly. And I have a smaller head, so I'm not, the normal average. Some guys have giant craniums, man. All right. So, we want to try to make sure this fits as many people as possible. Especially if I'm going to sell this and market this mask. So, with that in mind, I'm going to just sort of quickly, as fast as I can, go through and just slam on some clay here, build up some thickness. Usually when I'll do a mask, on a bust or something, or a life cast, I'll usually put like an inch of clay on there first and then go and start building the character. And then that way you kind of ensure yourself that you're going to be big enough, that the mask is going to be large enough because of shrinkage. So I'm just adding like another 1/4 of an inch here.
That was a question somebody had last week too about shrinkage, right?
Yeah, there was a question about that. I think, forget who asked that question.
I have it written down.
So when you're sculpting, if you're new, I know most professionals know this already, and so, but not everyone is a professional or whatever. So if you're new or you're moderately new, make sure when you sculpt, and I've even gotten into this bad habit, and I still do it sometimes just for the hell of it, but make sure you're sculpting from left to right, and make sure you're sculpting in 3 dimension. Don't just work on one side and that's it, and ignore the other side. It's a discipline to have to do both sides. This isn't ZBrush, so it's not going to do it for you. You can't be lazy. That digital crap. I'm just joking. I'm joking. Calm down. Don't get mad. It's not digital crap. Oh, but there is something I'd love to talk about. I think would be fun to get into a little bit. I might start a war, but that's okay. Sam, have you heard about this new AI stuff? What's it called? Where you can, from what I'm understanding, you can input different artist names, like 3 different artist names, like Van Gogh, Steve Wang, and whatever. I don't know. Throw out another artist name. Frank Frazetta, and it'll like mash up designs for you based on all these guys' work.
Yeah,
you'll see people posting like all these things about this now.
Yeah, there's a couple I know of. I know there's DALL-E 2, which I think is still in a beta. I know very little about them, but I know of them. There's a couple. What is it that I see people use related to a video game that I play, where they'll just input different, what is it, like terms from the game, like
Yeah.
certain city, certain character, certain weapon. And whatnot.
Yeah.
And then the AI will go into Google or some kind of a search engine, and it will conglomerate like pretty much the average of what those three terms would make,
Mm-hmm.
and then it shoots out a final product that is as close to the perfect ideal representation of all those three things combined.
Yeah, well, it does that with these artist names.
Yep.
You know, and there's a lot of people, not only artists coming out of the woodworks, like, you know, admitting that they use this now, like on Instagram, like, you know, but they've been using it for a while. I've seen a few guys saying that to design, and you know,
I think it'd be a good concept.
it's
Tool.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how I feel. Well, I know how I feel about it, but I don't know. I'm at that point, like, I don't want to get too judgmental right off the bat about it, but I can't help but think that okay, for me personally, I don't want some computer or some program being my imagination,
Right.
you know, for me. That I don't. That's weird. That's just like, and then on top of it, you know, it's using other artists to draw inspiration from, you know. So it's not coming from your heart, your mind. It's coming from some computer program to design, you know. Now, I mean, the way I see it, like, that I think would be valuable as a tool, as an artistic tool for designers, is if it was able to, and I don't know if it is or not. I'm just taking a wild guess here that it's not, or I don't know. Maybe it is. Who knows? I'm not even gonna guess. But it'd be interesting to find out if this is more like where an artist can just take a bunch of his own art and scramble it up to get different ideas, you know, because then you're not, you know, but you're still relying on a program to do it for you, to think for you. You know, you're not doing the thinking, you're not doing the brainstorming, and then you're taking this design and reworking it into something cooler or better or whatever. That's, from what I understand, that's what guys are doing, you know. I forget what they're called, or what this thing is called, or what it, you know, it's becoming popular though. I'm starting to see like daily Instagram posts about it.
There's Dolly 2, Deep Dream Generator, Mid-Journey.
Mid-Journey, that's it. Mid-Journey.
AI,
Yeah, Mid-Journey. That's the
or
popular.
Starry AI, Deep AI, Photor, Runway ML. What's another one?
Mid-Journey is the one. The one I see the most is Mid-Journey. So I was asked by a colleague how I felt about it, and you know, the thing is, I know people, not just artists using it. I know non-artist people using it, and then coming up with art, and then saying, "Oh, look what I did." But they haven't practiced art for 20, 30, 40 years, right?
Right.
That's another area I see is a big problem, because now anyone can be an artist and they haven't worked for it. You know, that's an issue. Big time. You know, because the program is doing all the work for you.
I'm not vintage, I'm grumpy says it's TikTok for artists.
Yeah, it is. And it's bullshit. I mean, if you want me to be honest, I'm gonna be honest. I think it's BS, because in a way, okay, you're not using your imagination. You are using some computer program to come up with it for you. That is not coming from your heart, coming from your mind, coming from your creativity, you know? That's BS, man. Like, I can't respect that. You have to, like, it's not like ZBrush where it's like, oh, it's digital, it's not sculpture. No, it is sculpture. It's just digital sculpture. It's a great tool. That argument is ridiculous. You know, that's like arguing when Photoshop came out. Oh, it's not painting. Well, it is. It's just digital painting, you know?
The fundamentals are still there.
Yeah,
the theories are still there.
yeah, like you can't go into Photoshop and paint an amazing picture unless you have a fundamental background in painting. Yeah, there's little tricks and things you can do. Same with ZBrush, like it'll sculpt the other side for you. But if you suck at sculpting, or you're not very good, or you haven't put the hours and time in and the practice to get good at anatomy, you're not going to be good in ZBrush just because it's digital.
Or if you don't have a good grasp of color theory, good luck finding anything like palette-wise.
Yeah, but this is different. This is like you put in, and again, I haven't used this, so I don't know. I'm just saying what I've heard about it. I'm just relaying what I've heard. You put in artist names, and it mishmatches, or it blends them. Mishmashes. I can't even talk. It blends them up like a blender, and spits out some design with remnants of these artists' work. So, I mean, if it's not even your art that you're using, too, if you're like, oh, I want to see what it looks like if I put Van Gogh, Frank Frazetta, and Steve Wang together. Dude, that's not you coming up with it. That's the computer. That's a program coming up with that. You did not come up with that. Now, you're going to go change it and tweak it to death and make it your own. Still, that's something I think is lame, man. I'm sorry. So if you're an artist using that, that's all right. More power to you, I guess, man. But I would just use your own imagination to come up with stuff, but like, look, if it's something where you could do your own art and mishmash it up to get ideas, that's cool too. But you can still do that with Photoshop. But I don't know. I just have a weird vibe with this whole thing. I think it's kind of like the more I'm discovering about it and seeing and hearing. And one thing, and I don't know if this is the case or not, but like so far, everything I've seen has a similarity in a way. Like, and I hope that's, well, I don't know if I hope that's not the case, but that's weird. Like to me that like everything is this so far that I've seen is like this wiry type art stuff with a lot of sinewy aspects and things. I don't know if that's the program, just the way it works, or if that's truly how things are spit out or what, or I don't know. See, I don't know enough of it to really be negative and judge it, but from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, it's like, I don't know, man. I'm not sure I'm down with that. But hey, whatever. That's my issue. Nobody else's issue. I've heard a lot of artists getting pissed off about it, though, that they don't like it.
Chris Dawson says it's the AI version of what happened to Casey at the Trans World show.
Yeah.
That's something you mentioned last week.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I just, not to be a grumpy old man or pissy or anything, or make this into a stream of negativity. I'm not here to do that to you guys, but I'm just being honest. I'm being honest about how I feel about it and from what I've seen and heard. And I think I just don't find it to be very interesting. And I don't know that a really great artist that has, is going to use that or rely on that, like I think if the artist is really good and is strong enough in their work, they're not going to need that.
I will say, I think it's okay to use it as a second opinion. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, this is what I'm kind of going for. Does what I have kind of hit that mark? And it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like
kind of use it as like a secondary reference.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I can't see personally. I can't see ever using this thing for myself. I can't see it, but like I said, maybe if it's something where I can mishmash, or collage my own stuff together, maybe then an artist would do that just to see what it spits out. I mean, maybe there's a good idea in there somewhere,
right.
but if you're doing this with like 3 other well-known artists, you're basically, because what I've heard is that's what you do. You put in like other artist names and it spits out this piece of art, basically. And that to me is just, it's got wrong written on it so much that it's not, you know what I mean? Like you don't, it's not right, man. It's definitely, I guess a lot of artists are saying it's plagiarism, and it is to an extent, for sure. Because if those artist styles are anywhere in that piece, then yeah, you know, I'm I'm sure you could make the argument, oh, it's 30% different. Well, fine, but I don't know. I just have a problem with it. Like, I think art is meant to be something that, like, the new generation of kids should know, that you build your imagination and work on your own creations and come up with your own stuff. I mean, when we all start out, we all start with influences for sure, and we copy and we get inspired by and but then later as you go, and you get good at what you're doing and you hone your craft, you create your own stuff, you know. Like I these days, like even years ago, when I first started, I'd look at influences and Frazetta and Bernie Wrightson and other mask makers, and get inspired, and then started to notice, oh, some of it's too much. So then you break away and you start coming up with your own stuff, and that's the thing, and that's how a lot of artists start. But this is a program that you put in artist names and it basically
Here's what you get.
Spits it out. Yeah, that's what I understand it as. But
Chris Dawson says in the chat, I'm not worried about the AI art. There are millions of people trying to use algorithms to make hit songs. You can tell when they use a formula. Plus, the AI only draws from created content. I kind of piggyback on that and say, like, even if this AI art, this is me speaking, it's like, even if this AI art kind of does get to a point where it's like, where it feels like it's kind of replacing artists, it's like, I would say, yeah, the AI art is capable of doing that, but it's not capable of being original, and it's also not capable of being spontaneous.
Well, the weird thing though is I think the thing that's disturbing to me is I'm seeing working artists using this and like literally going like, oh, I don't care what people think, I don't care if you're against this, I'm using it, I've been using it for a while and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, great, good for you, but you're not using your own imagination with that. Sorry. You're spitting out art from other, from a program that's doing it for you. So I just find that, like, I've seen people like literally working on movies or TV shows or whatever using this to come up with ideas, and it's like, man, really? I don't know. Anyway, I'm just on a rant about it because I think it sucks. Sorry if you disagree with me. It's just, my opinion of it. Maybe you like it or whatever. It's all good. Everyone's gonna have their own opinions. So, anyway, I'll get off that whole soapbox thing because that's not what we're here for anyway. We're here to have fun.
True.
And I kind of got into the zone of negativity. Ah!
Pull us out of that spiral.
Don't go down that road. All right, so back to fun monsters and clay and traditional shit. So this is, here we are. I'm just building up. So I have a little, Photoshop sketch that I worked on a little bit, and I'm kind of looking at every so often off to my left here, just as an idea. It's not something I don't know if I'll 100% copy it or what. Probably not. I usually don't. I usually change things once I get into clay. Funny, like I'm not the best illustrator, by the way, by any means or anything like that, but I always find that I'll tweak things pretty, sometimes drastically, sometimes not, just depends, but I'll tweak things once I start jumping into it, even from the drawing, or whatever, because the drawing is usually just used as a rough guide or something like that. Some things will work, some things won't work, and a lot of it you have to play with the forms to get it to work, to get some of the ideas to work, especially when you start changing anatomy around or doing something that's not the norm. So once again, this is kind of sort of this boogeyman type of person inspired thing here. And one of the weird things is I've got these eyes here, but in my drawing I've placed some other eyes, so I might have to lengthen his face to get that to work actually. As I'm looking at it, we'll see as I go here. Since I've added a bunch of clay up top, I better get in here and add a bunch of clay, everywhere else. Otherwise, it's going to look big and then skinny. And you know what, guys? I mean, tell us how you feel about this AI. What's it called again? What was that name? Midjourney. Midjourney. Yeah. Tell us what you think of Midjourney. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. Maybe I'm just not seeing this from the right point of view or the right thing or the right angle. I don't know. I'd love to hear what you guys think of it too. If you don't know what it is, look it up. And you'll see artists on Instagram posting like Midjourney, and what that means is that design you're looking at was not something that they fully came up with. They used a program to, and if I'm understanding this all correctly, please don't get all mad at me, but from what I understand, it's like they're using a program to help them come up with designs that they normally wouldn't think of themselves. But I thought that was the job of an artist, to think for yourself and to do art and create something from within yourself. I thought that was the whole point of being an artist, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're in the future now, and that's no longer the issue. That's no longer cool. Sam, I like you're just like
No, I'm just I don't know, I'm just thinking like
I know you're seeing it probably way more positively than I am.
Well, no, it's not even that. I'm just thinking like if we are in like that point where people are just kind of belting out art as fast as they can, kind of thing. It's like, all right, is there going to come to a point where there's like a difference? It's like there's like your commercial art, quote unquote, versus your passion art. Like,
well, that's always
like true art.
That's always for any real working artist though, like someone working, and I'm not trying to put any artist down, but like what I mean by that is, okay, an artist that has a full-time career, whether it's movie effects, toy industry, statues, whatever you have, those artists are all doing that already. Like that, they're working a job that's most likely, if it's film or toys or whatever, that's commercial all the way. Those ideas and those things and all that, it doesn't belong to them. They're helping, charge, maybe lead a design or something, but they don't own any of that stuff, and oftentimes aren't even in control of the ideas and which way things are going to go, But so you'll see a lot of artists like that do their own art on the side, like myself, and that's to keep that passion that you started when before you were this working artist in the business. You were doing your own thing or having fun making, like I did masks, other guys draw or whatever it is. I don't know too many artists that don't still do that. It's for to some degree on the side, and some way more prolific than others. There was a time where I was way more prolific than I am now because I just don't have the same time as I used to have. And that's what happens, because the more you become a commercial artist and do commercial work, the less time you start to have for your own stuff. That's just the way it goes. And then you'll see other artists like let me take Chet Zar, for example, who left commercial art, who left the effects business pretty much, and just went on this adventure of like, I'm just going to create my own art, my own paintings, and do my own thing. And now look where he's at. I mean, and he's been like that ever since. And that's just because he wants to really hone his own world and his own art and be happy as an artist, because let's face it, as artists, you can't ever be fully 100% happy if you're just working for a company all the time, creating what they want to create and doing what they want to do. I mean, you have to have some outlet to keep yourself happy. It's important. It's a healthy, important thing, for your mind and your creativity, your creative side. But I'm not saying there aren't some people maybe doing a job that's like this. It's the most like that. There are some artists maybe, let's say their thing is superheroes and they're working for a toy company or a statue company, and that was their dream job no matter what. Then they might be fully satisfied with their art that way and in that career,
Yeah, sure.
For sure. For sure. So anyway, but I know a lot of artists obviously that I've had these conversations with and because like the like with movies, let's take movies for example, seldom do you work on something in movies where you're getting to fully design stuff yourself. It's always a director's idea. It's always, which you may or may not agree with, it's always a effect shop or a producer or whatever, right? When I worked on Predator movies, I mean, there was some producer at Fox that, he was in charge of kind of art directing some of the Predator stuff that you would be working on at a shop, So you never really were in charge of saying what the design was going to be. So that's just the way it goes. It's commercial art.
Yeah. I would say too, for the people in chat, it's like, keep doing what you're doing. Like,
Yes.
Always stay passionate with it. Always keep loving it, because there will always be people around who appreciate the stuff that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there'll always be something to try to trivialize, like, very complex things, like creating something like a sculpture. But, as long as people put their hand to clay, or sometimes they use the term, like, pen to paper, like, there's always going to be people around to appreciate that.
Yeah, and share it on Instagram and other outlets that you have for free to share that art, because that's like super important actually to identify with people who you are as an artist and get your style out there in your work.
You never know too. Your work might end up inspiring people.
Well, I've seen, dude, that's a great point, because I've seen plenty of times where artist puts his work on Instagram or something like that, and the next thing you know, they're working for, Guillermo del Toro or somebody, because they were recognized, by that person or some other director or whatever, and then they're working on films and things. So yeah, it's totally a smart thing to do, especially for those of you that, and don't be shy. A lot of people are really shy to post their work, and I get it. It's a little intimidating at times, but you just got to do it and just keep posting your stuff over and over again. This is the day and age of just shoving your own work down people's throats. You have to do it. It's the only way at this point, especially with all the weird algorithms that Instagram has now and all that.
Yeah.
You don't like. I have you get 100,000 followers nowadays, and if you even get there and it doesn't grow at all, and then you're always stuck at this number or whatever, and then basically you end up you don't even know how many of those people really see your work. Honestly, it's a little weird at this point. I remember Instagram, man, when I first started, it was just like, it's like when you win a slot machine and it's just numbers rolling by. It used to be just people's names, just, and then within a week I'd have like 1,000 new followers, and now it's like I'm lucky if I get 100 new followers in a week. Things have changed. Of course, it's I don't post every day, and which is what I should do, but I just don't.
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard.
It's time, and you don't want to spend more time on the phone.
I will say too, there are some folks that I'm a big fan of. This one group on YouTube that they only ever post a video every Friday, and that's it. Yeah. And they just now hit 2 million subscribers on their YouTube channel. They've been doing this for like 8 or 9 years at this point. Yeah. And they've stuck to that schedule. They've never broken it. They've never posted more. They've never posted less. And
I can't imagine, like, fathom 2 million people on.
Yep.
You said YouTube?
on YouTube.
Holy cow, dude! Like, I can't even fathom that.
Yeah.
That's insane. Is there even 2 million people that want to learn how to make a mask at this point? Probably not.
You never know. You never know.
Are you guys out there? No.
I mean, Face Off had what? What was their number? Or what is it? Shoot, it's the broadcast term. I can't remember. But I think they were getting like 3s or 4s when that show was first starting.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty popular.
Yeah. Face Off. There's another soapbox I could get on. I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it. This will be the Casey's complaint hour.
No.
Nah, we're not doing that. All right, guys. So if you're still with us, I'm sorry. I just went on my little rant about this AI thing. But, you know, that's just how I feel, you know? I just don't like it. I don't like it. Make it go away. Wish it into the cornfield. All right, cool. So we're making a mask. That's all that matters right now. And like I said, I have this weird, freaky idea. I had to, you know, it was weird last week when I was sculpting, and I'll be totally honest with you guys because, you know, you're just, to be honest, you're just seeing me make something up. I mean, now I have a better drawing, but last week I didn't have, I wouldn't have shown you guys that drawing. That's for sure. I'm not even going to show you the drawing now, but I wouldn't show you that drawing for $1 million. That drawing was like, ugh. And the idea wasn't there. I had to feel out, I had to remember what was creeping me out as a kid and get back into that vibe. I needed a week to really think it through. So, yeah. And then basically I was able to kind of do that and feel it out. Oh my God, there's a bug on my neck. And then see if where I wanted to go with it. This is just like a glass marble, or, you know, is it marble, right? Yeah, like a marble. I'm just trying to find the proper eye placement. This design is a little weird because one of these eyes is going to be up higher than the other and more sunken back. I tried to do some things with the eyes that would be creepy and interesting. And again, this goes back to, you know, coming up with your own thing. So I was trying to mess around with what I could do with these eyes to make it weird, a little bit weird and off setting in a little way. So, and this is kind of what I came up with. Now, I don't know in sculpture if it's going to work the way I have it in my drawing. We'll see. This eye's sunken back too quite a bit. I think I need to push it back. And then it's a little more up, and this eye's a little more dropped out, but this one's still sunken too. All right. There's just a weird, normally I would do the eyes straight across, you know, the same level, but and like I said, this design, there's a weird sort of, I have this idea that I want the eyes to be at different heights to make it more weird and interesting, I guess. I should probably, before I get too into this, I should take some measurements too if I'm thinking about this, because I need room to do what I want to do. There's going to be some weird there's also going to be, just so you know, this is going to seem very strange at first, like why would he do that? But there's going to be these two other eyes right here in with actual eyelids and fleshiness around them, like over the cheekbones. I know it's strange, but you'll see once you see. We should probably just show them the sketch once I get a minute here, so people aren't like, "What are they doing?" I don't get it. All right. So then this is gonna have like an eye bag here, have a droopy eye bag. That also means I need more flesh in here and in here.
I'm not vintage, I'm grumpy says, Eddie Cromwell had 4 eyes?
Okay, I know. Good point. No, he didn't. But imagine if he did. Now you know why I was scared.
How freaky that'd be?
No, he didn't. Okay, I should talk about that. I'm glad he actually said that though, because I should talk about like kind of what I was referring to last week, but I probably didn't go to great length in this type of thing. So yeah, this guy freaked me out as a kid, and he lived right down the street, but you have to, this is a mask, and it's got to have, even though it's inspired by this guy that freaked me out or whatever, it's not. I'm not gonna copy that guy's face and everything and try to make it look like exactly like him, but there's a sort of vibe of him in there, but I'm gonna push to a more fantastic, weird, like I was saying, ghostly or fantastic or boogeyman-ish vibe. I'm gonna push things, and one of the things I was saying last week, I don't know if everyone remembers, I was kind of talking about like I'm gonna have to find something weird with the mouth and weird. So this is part of me finding the weirdness and the strangeness in it to bring, it to a different, more horrific, more of a monster. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, I know. You're like 4 eyes. What the heck? I got a pretty tall bridge to the nose too, I'm noticing, so I better sort of bring that up a bit. Keep that dip though, from the brow. Don't lose that when you're sculpting your anatomy. It's good to have that break point there, where the brow goes in, and then the nose. The nose doesn't just run up into the bridge of the the eyebrow or whatever. The bridge of the nose doesn't just run into the eyebrow. That's a common mistake that beginners make. They don't give this part of the brow the breaking point this way, and then the nose this way. Let's see. I'm gonna have to. Okay, so I can already see that it's weird. I gotta train my brain to shut off from you guys and focus on what's right and wrong in the design. I'm not totally used to it yet. Maybe I'll get more comfortable with doing these streams, where I can tune out and just focus on art. But I do find it. That's one thing about the YouTube live thing I find is a little bit of a struggle is to tune out and focus. It's not easy, man. Try it out and see. What you looking for? Oh my gosh, the one thing we don't have in this house is a normal pen. Like, I was looking for one the other day and I could not find a pen. I do have though. I have these right here. Yeah, like I have a Tombow Combos are good. Those are good pens for art. Um, I like that. Eddie Cromwell had 4 eyes?
I was telling people they should put on Eyes Without a Face by Billy Idol right now.
Oh, man, right?
Or Eyes of a Stranger, somebody said.
Isn't that Queensryche?
I think, yeah.
It's like a Queensryche song.
Is it Queensryche or is it Queensreich?
I always said Queensryche, but okay. I could be wrong.
I had a friend in high school who would always say Queenreich, and I'm like, I don't think that's how it's pronounced.
Queenreich?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He also pronounced Dimmuburger, Dimmuborger.
Oh, well, I would say he's wrong there.
No.
I'd go with he's wrong. Demon. What is it?
Dimmuburger.
Dimmuburger.
I think that's the American pronunciation of it, though. Like the lazy, like, not gonna put any inflections on the right places kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like putting way too many inflections on the wrong places.
Yeah.
Nerdy heavy metal stuff.
Yeah. I like it though. Let's see here. Pull this down a little. And this lid is a little higher than that one. There we go. Put that in there. So I'll just lay this stuff in fairly rough, and then you'll see me, I'll refine it later. I mean, probably on the stream we won't get into like super refinement or anything, but I'll try and get this guy laid in there as much as I can for you guys, so you can see the design. I just realized I can't see jack. I need my glasses. Oh, and they're right here. No wonder. Oh my god, I can see. Holy moly. Oh my god, what was I sculpting? This looks wrong. Alright, here we go. I can actually see now. That's good. Alright, so that. So you'll notice I won't get into any like detail or refining anything. There's no point to do that at this juncture. Wow, really cranking. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so you're just gonna see me building this stuff up. Now he's gonna have a lot of teeth. strange teeth, very sharp, creepy teeth. So that's part of the design. He'll have these monsterish teeth. No, Eddie didn't. Edward didn't have that either, but you know, I try to, like I said, make this more of a sort of weird, fantastical design. That pushes this way. I don't really have room. It's weird because I have to give him these really wide, crazy cheekbones to pull off this extra eye. This is part of like where the drawing works, but then like you get into the sculpting and you can already see where, uh-oh, that might not work as well as I thought. So I'm going to have to play around with it, figure this out. I think I'm going to change some of the drawing. Maybe make it... I have the mouth slightly open in the drawing, but I think I'm going to close the mouth, or so that the teeth are clenching as well. We'll see. We'll see. I think I might have to do that. I don't have to do it, but I think I want to do it. Lip is pushed way out. The bottom lip is pushed way. He's missing. The one thing about it is he's missing his half or most of his upper lip is gone, and then he's got a bottom lip, but it's really eroded away and sort of pushed out on one side. Well, it's pushed out altogether, but really pushed down one side because his lower teeth on this design, he's got all these multiple layers of teeth. I almost feel like, that's going to be almost like I need some more length. All right, so let's do a little trick here. So I'm going to cut this off, which might seem really strange. But this is the fun part because you can talk to people. Hey guys, I don't like that new AI stuff.
Out of Trader Sam's.
I don't like it. Don't use that. It's bullshit.
All heard Eddie.
Yep, don't. Oh, look, it's more scary now. All right. So what I'm going to do is I want to lengthen this a bit, even if I am going to close the mouth. So I'm going to do a little trick here to get more length to fit all my design aspects in, because I can't fit them the way it was. It's too short. this should help. And then I can lower his jaw. The face is, yeah, he's got a pretty long face. Anyway, so, and I've got it way too short. So we're gonna lengthen this as quickly as we can. It'll look a little weird for a minute, guys. So you notice I add clay, to each side, the same roughly. But something you should do when you're sculpting as a standard practice, so you don't end up with one side done and the other side like totally missing. It's a bad habit. What else is going on with this guy? Oh yeah, he's got these weird. Oh yeah, this is weird. And they're very low. I might do that. I know I have his ears in the right place, but I think for the design's sake, I did this. I just noticed I put these ears really low and weird, and it's making the design more strange because it's not really where the ears should be. And he's got these pointed demon ears coming through his hair. So, but they're lower. They kind of stick out, which it can be a silly type of look. So be careful. I mean, they don't stick out too badly, but they do kind of stick out. I guess because like what I want is like from under his hair, you almost want to see those ears. So let me lower this ear as well. This is just part of finding the weirdness in this design, So it's a lot of it is, fairly human anatomy, but at the same time it's moved to a more of a strange look or a strange position. You can see already like how just the points of those ears change and make him look demonic. Those ears could even go a tiny bit lower. I know that sounds like that might not be anatomically correct, but I like that because it makes the head look bigger too. The cranium looks strangely enlarged. Part of mask making, you want to just tweak things and move things around. You follow anatomy to a point, and then you got to find fantastical things that make things strange and weird, or just play around, try things. Even if it's not correct, doesn't mean you can't make it work somehow. I remember an artist friend of mine who's going to remain unnamed. I'm not, I don't want to say anything, but they were so into anatomy being perfectly correct that they didn't get the whole idea behind what it means to make a mask boogity and weird and not follow the rules. And that makes for a boring mask, in my opinion. Like you got to find a character, and you got to find something weird and strange and interesting. And I always try to make each mask that I do very different from the next. But sometimes you gotta do things and put things in a place, you know, that works, but it's not too crazy and outlandish, but you can find something that makes it look off. I don't think that's out of the realm at all. I think that's just part of being more imaginative. And really good artists can do this and make it look right. And that's pretty cool to do. But, you know, make your ears look like real ears. Don't sculpt ears that don't look like ears. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. We talked about that on the ear video that we did. We did do an ear video demo. If you missed that, there's one, I forget which video it is, which number.
What's that?
Remember we did the ear of sculpting human ears and stuff, and then we changed it into like a vampire ear or something.
Let me see.
I forget what episode that was.
That is episode number 10.
Episode 10. Thanks, Sam.
Yep.
Rule, man. Episode 10, we did sculpting human ears, and then how to transform them into like vampire or bat ears or something like that. Like how to take it away from human. But the lesson in the human ear there is the important part. The other part was just the fun part. I'm working on extending his cranium a bit. The good thing about that is it'll give the mask wearer more room to wear the mask, and it gives a little more room, so it's not too small. But I am going for like a more fitted mask here on this one. Okay, and then one of the things I'm noticing now that I'm looking back at my design is I need to widen this mouth. That's part of the problem, which helps the wide cheekbones look more natural. It's funny when you draw something of your own and then you go to sculpt it and you're like, I don't get it. You got to look at it, and funny enough, you're like, oh, okay, that's further out. This is this is that. But you drew the damn thing and you're sitting there struggling, like, what's wrong? But that's the way it goes when you're copying something. Okay, and so yeah, and that gets wider. So I need to go wider with the mask and longer with the mask. And one bad thing is his chin is hidden underneath here. And I think that's because if I recall, I was thinking this chin would be really pushed out, like, from all these extra teeth that are going to be in this lip. I know this looks like a messy blobs of clay, but bear with me. It'll start coming together. Sam, what time are we at now?
We are at 7:10 right now.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go a little longer before we do with the artist share and all that. Just gonna push this a little bit further. Okay, and then this would have to come forward more. I'm fighting with these cheekbones a little because normally you want to bring the cheekbones a little bit forward, the bone in front of the eye here, which I do need to do, but on the other hand, I need to find a way to fit these eyes in. You know what? I think that's what I'm gonna have to do is fit the eyes in and then work around the rest. Okay, so now that I know that, let me fit these eyes in. So it's right in here. I have this, the eye bag. One eye bag is drooped down lower. One is up higher. slightly. And then this eye, I'm just marking stuff so I get like a guide of where this eye needs to land, which is like right. I'm gonna make like an eye socket in a weird place that you would not ever have an eye socket. And I apologize, I don't have exactly the same colored eyes. Yeah, I wonder if these eyes are gonna be too big too. Let's see, they're looking down as well. Okay, so I could go like that, which is going to push this out. All right. And then this. One of the things I want to have too is like I want to have this lump of, or this push, this piece of like a fleshy wrinkle between the eye bag and the eye. Because the eye is there, it's pushed this fleshy bulge up into there. And then I want it, this like sort of eyelid to dive down. I want these eyes to be very almond shaped, so they're very demonic looking, like they grew out of his face in a weird way. It almost feels like it needs to go up higher. And then there's a weird fleshy tear duct thing here. And it doesn't have, like, these eyes don't have a lot of bag to them, lower bag, but there's just a little bit. But man, that means I got to push this cheekbone way out here. Like so. And then I got to push the sinewy piece out here. And then this fleshy thing comes up right in that corner there. This eye bag is kind of sagging a little bit. All right, and then sorry if I'm talking to myself. I'm just trying to like figure everything out here. So sometimes I got to do that. I guess the good thing is I can kind of see if this is going to work and how it's going to work. It's not going to make a lot of sense, but that's not the point. I know it looks weird right now, but hopefully I'll get this design to work. Like, that's how Eddie looked? No. Yep. That's how he looked. When I was 8 years old, this is what this guy looked like. A monster. No. Poor Eddie. This kind of ends up being very sinewy and thin skin, stretched muscle tendon thing here. Now this nasal fold here is basically just a thin, wispy stretch of skin, and then the way I'm going to deal with this is have it dive, kind of come to a quick ending, have it dive off behind his mouth or to the side of his mouth there. Now you kind of have to picture, well, I'll try and get him in there, but you're going to kind of have to picture there's going to be like a lot of nasty, sharp teeth in here and bumps and gum tissue and stuff. And over here, he's got part of his lip still hanging around, but most of his lip is ripped away or torn away. Kind of in a zombie fashion, but not a zombie. The one thing I don't want this to look like is a zombie. I think that's why I had to go with more of the weird eyes placed in the cheekbones and just weird things going on. You know, shifting things, just so it wasn't reading, because it was reading as like a zombie originally. Anytime you do holes in the face and blisters and whatever, everything's, no matter what, it starts to read like a zombie. I don't want that, because that's not what he is. So there's a fine line, or you have to kind of find a way to do it so it doesn't look like a zombie. Otherwise, everyone's going to look at it and go, oh, it's a zombie. I'll probably still be fighting that problem. I didn't know zombies had 4 eyes. Also, these demonic eyes, I'm noticing I have them more closed down. So I don't have this one closed down quite the right way here. Ah, just wiped away the damn clay. All right, so I'll put this back. There we go. That's more correct. And keep in mind that, like, this bulge right here, there'll be like a little black pupil right here. I almost wish, too, I could get... you know what? Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. So this becomes the eyelid. This does that. I kind of had 2 eyelids going on there. And you know what? Let me take this away for a sec, because I'm going to have to try to get this to face correctly. I'm going to do a lot of damage, guys. But that's just what you have to do if you don't like something. For me, even though this eye is... maybe it doesn't need to be that much. I'm fighting with how I want the eye to look at you. Ah, I should have left it alone. Now I'm making a big mess. Okay, so this piece of skin goes here. And then this continues from up here and becomes more of the eyelid, or the rest of the eyelid.
The way it's peeking out right now, it looks almost like a goat's eye.
Yeah, it's got that almond shape, so it's going to be almost kind of demonic, which is kind of like a goat's eye. You know.
People are asking if this concept came from a night of crystal meth or something that you were on.
No. I don't do drugs. My drug right now is working out, actually. I found that.
Pure adrenaline?
Yeah, I found that, you know, I never work out. I wasn't much into working out much. I mean, well, for a 3-year period in my life, I was boxing, and that was working out, of course, heavily. Back just when I got married to my wife, I was boxing and in pretty good shape. I was working out a lot, and then I went into pretty much no working out for many years. And now I'm on this new, ever since COVID hit, I started working out just in my garage, and then now I'm like on this trek, this mission. I work out every day almost every day, not every day. You got to take a break. But I work out run a mile, then do like a cardio workout hit, and then that's kind of my drug for sure right there. that's that's what gets me feeling good and for the rest of the day. And I mean, I highly recommend something like that, because when you're an artist and you're sitting all day, it'll start taking a toll. The older you get, it'll start taking a toll on you. Just being, lazy, and out of shape, and not working out and not taking care of yourself. That's an easy thing for artists to fall into, because we sit a lot. And not every artist sits, but a lot of us sit. And especially if you're a digital artist, just sitting behind a computer all day, if that's your job, I mean, it's really good to take a break and do something else active with your body. And I found that it's helped me out a lot, just running and then working out and training, and not heavy weights, but some lightweight workouts and stuff, and push-ups and sit-ups and all different variations of those things. I mean, I know people don't like that stuff, but a lot of people don't. It's a weird, like a mental challenge you have to get past, and then once you get past that mental challenge, you start to enjoy it and like it, and you start to see the results as well, and it just pushes you more so. So I definitely recommend it to you guys that, if you're feeling not tired throughout the day and not 100% or physically drained, I mean, yeah, definitely I recommend it. It's helped me out a lot. So now I'm on this mission by the time I'm 50 to get in the best shape that I possibly can get into. I'm 47 now, so we'll see. We'll see what happens by the time I hit 50. All right. So I'm going to spend a lot of time screwing with this thing. That's pretty obvious at this point, because this is not going to be an easy design to get hammered out as quickly as I thought. And I'm not one of those rush sculptors like, Speedy Gonzalez. I like to take my time and try to feel it out and get it right. So we'll take a break from this sculpt for a minute. I do want to get some teeth in there just so I can kind of show you more of what this thing's supposed to look like. And I got to get the other eye in. But yeah, we could take a break and do our artist share, and let's also do questions, if there are any questions.
Yeah, there's a couple so far.
Okay. Question number 1. How come you don't like AI programs?
What's your issue with Midjourney?
Yeah, Midjourney. I don't even like the name.
I know, a lot of them are kind of lame.
Midjourney.
Starry AI just has me going, really? The best you got?
How about Rip-Off Journey? All right. This looks so weird and wacky with this mouth right now. It's not making any sense. I promise it'll look cool when it's done.
It reminds me of Neo in the Matrix when he has his mouth all shut up and
Oh,
it's like
God.
super big and wide.
Oh no, that's it. I'm done. I give up. No. Yeah, I remember that scene now. Actually, some of this sinewy stuff I have in the face is gonna be tricky to pull off because I can't really make holes through the way I have drawn it here. So that's gonna be interesting to figure out. But that'll be part of the fun challenge. Just flesh out a little more here too. Yeah, this is like really tricky to figure out how I'm gonna make this work. What time do we got?
We are at 7:30 straight.
Okay, yeah, we'll break away right now, just so we're not running over. Just trying to get as much in as possible. Couple things that are bugging me. I gotta fix. Otherwise, oh, you know what? Too. Even though we lengthen, this is gonna have to go up a little bit. Okay. Think I can live with that for now. That sinewy piece, I don't know how I'm gonna pull off. Okay. So, all right. So, let me wash my hands up, and we'll get going on artist share and questions. And man, are those ears really low? Holy crap. That's kind of part of the weirdness, I suppose. This is not where ears would be normally. Let's see if I can make it work and get away with it. I'm like, okay, we'll stop, and I keep going. All right, I'm gonna force myself to stop, otherwise I will keep going. Don't spray your sculpture down too much, too. I didn't spray it down last time at all. I'm just barely gonna miss it. One of the mistakes with wet clay is like over spraying it down and soaking it up, making it all wet, and then you have this super wet, muddy sculpture. You only want to spray it down every once in a while. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands off. I'll be right back. Okay. So tonight, I don't have a piece of art from this artist, and unfortunately, this artist is no longer with us. So, but that's neither here nor there. We can still share their art, and we've all seen the art that has come out of the studio of this person, this individual. So, because it's one of the largest effects studios who, have done many, many, many films that we all love and watch and have grown up on or know of, such as Terminator, Jurassic Park, Monster Squad, Pumpkinhead, and the list goes on and 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 on. Many Terminators, many things. The studio has gone on to do Avatar. What else? So many other things. Anyway, the person I'm talking about is Stan Winston, of course, Mr. Stan Winston. So, a lot of people have this book, and since Predator, the new Predator movie came out and all that, Prey, why not talk about Stan and Winston effects book? Of course, nowadays there is the wonderful online school, which I have taught for and have videos for the Winston guys, that do the Winston school. So they're keeping the legacy alive. And this is a pretty old book now. And there's Stan right there, of course. So, this man, just like, Rick Baker and others, I'd say Rick and Stan were the two top tier shops for a long, long time, if not for forever, as far as effects. But there's a huge, 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 huge background career with Stan Winston, going all the way back to when he was just doing small makeups and things out of his own little small studio, garage, whatever it was back in the day. And this book has a lot about his early history, early life, and you can still get this book, I'm pretty sure, or find it. But, Stan's here. He's working in television. He did a lot of commercials, TV shows, some of his early work. Amazing makeup that he did here. Old age. He worked on Gargoyles. Love that. Gargoyles. And, some early shots of Stan. Here he is applying and that makeup that we just saw, which was this one here. It's old age makeup. And, he did a tremendous amount of stuff, even in his early career, let alone later. But he would go on to create Stan Winston Studios, which would become one of the big premier makeup effects shops. And here's some shots of him sculpting and working on stuff. So, and, we'll jump forward here a little bit. Obviously, once he got into Terminator and, even Pumpkinhead and some of these other shows, Predator, Monster Squad, his Aliens, then his shop really started to take off big time into the bigger, huge movie budget type shows. This is a shot where this was an effect right here that Rob Bottin, for whatever reason, couldn't get to, or maybe didn't have enough manpower, whatever. He had, asked Stan to do this effect for The Thing. So this is the dog from The Thing, where they made a puppet. Stan Winston came up with the idea of just putting his arm up into the puppet, puppeteering the head of the dog. So that's what they did.
Is that different from the one where it looks like the tongues are blooming out of its mouth?
No, this is from that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what happened is the guy that had the show was Rob Bottin.
Right.
And he did all the effects except this one. This one he contracted out to Stan and had them do this effect because maybe they didn't have enough manpower, enough time to do it. So yeah, sometimes shops will do that. They'll have too much on their plate, and hey, can you help us out? We'll give you this. You know. So that was how that worked out. Interview with a Vampire was another big one. It was a well-known fact that Stan loved mammal type people, which is where I really got drawn into Stan's work. Was probably this picture right here of him sculpting this amazing transformation of from human to, you know, like a puma or a cat person, which is really cool. Here's some like bird people, another one with bird people, but it was pretty obvious. You know, Stan made it pretty aware that he was fascinated by that sort of transformation type thing. Here's some early Terminator stuff. And then, you know, and of course, out of Stan Winston's studio came a lot of amazing effects artists, such as Tom Woodruff Jr., who went on to help form ADI with Alec Gillis. So here's Tom working at Stan's shop on Terminator. He worked on a lot of the early films. He played Pumpkinhead and the Monster Squad Gillman. So out of Stan's shop, Tom created a career as a suit performer as well as an effects artist. So pretty amazing what also came out of Stan Winston's studio, not just the effects, but the people that came out of his studio, because so many legendary artists have come from his studio. Shane Mahan here working on Terminator with Tom. Here's an early shot of Arnold getting his life cast by Stan. Again, Shane. So pretty cool, man. And I mean, I know nowadays these effects don't hold up as well as they once did, but back in the day when you were a kid watching this, it blew your mind to see him cutting his arm open or pulling his eyeball out. And of course, Dick Smith visiting, helping out, which is cool. Dick Smith would go around and visit shops and talk to everybody and just share tips and tricks and talk about new things and see what shops were working on and what they were, how they're pushing the limits of makeup effects and creature effects and stuff. So, you know, and again, you know,
Chip Hazard from Small Soldiers.
Yeah, and
I love that movie.
yeah, and that's so they did Small Soldiers. That's John Rosengrant too, which John and Shane and a couple other guys went on and created Legacy Effects after Stan passed away and the shop closed. They carried the legacy on with Legacy Effects, hence the name Legacy. And they now run the shop, and pretty much in the same fashion that Stan originally ran the shop. Here's an interesting shot of Predator with the original actor, Steve Wang, Matt Rose, who is also, we've lost, unfortunately, the awesome Matt Rose standing right here, who sculpted the Predator head and the Monster Squad head. Steve Wang sculpted the suits for those. This is the actor for Predator that wore the suit. A lot of guys, you know, have passed away too that we've lost. That sucks. And we've lost a lot of talent from both industries, suit performer and you know, makeup effects artists over the years. So here's some more shots, and you know, this book goes on and on and on. So I mean, obviously, here's a penguin. You know, obviously, Stan's shop had a massive impact on makeup effects and pushing the level of not only just makeup effects, but creatures and animatronics. Someone was recently asking me, is it true that when they designed the Queen Alien that they used trash bags to design it? I said, yeah, it is. Actually, in here, that is right here. Stan had an idea about silhouetting a puppet creature life size to see what a camera would see or what a director would see. He could see if it would work and what needs to be changed or how they could pull off that trick, you know. And here clearly with a crane and everything, you see this life-size trash bagged Queen Alien just as an example. And then they did a maquette, you know, with actually little actor kind of doll sculpted actors in there, you know, little figures, just to see where the placement of the people would be, how the puppeteering would work. So they would do that. That was a trick they would do. We talked about that a lot when I worked at ADI with Alec and Tom. They would mention it as well. We've done it on a few shows over there. But yeah, I mean, and then here's Invaders from Mars, Monster Squad, you name it. Predator, some early Predator designs, trying to figure out what the look of the Predator. Funny enough, those eyebrows aren't too far off from the new one. Here's Steve Wang painting the suit, touching up a suit. It looks like more like he's touching up a suit on set. This is a picture I often talk to people about when they ask about Predator and the colors on the face. It's funny, if you pay close attention, they used to use these little medical pea jars to hold the rubber cement paint. And here you can see two of the colors that are actually in the Predator skin. This green vein color and then a red color. The red color is that reddishness underneath. And there's other pictures I found that show more cups. You could actually see the colors. I also talked with Steve Wang about what colors, how he laid them down. Because that paint job, if people don't remember, was very inventive, very translucent, very reptilian. And up until that point in Monster Squad and this, nobody was painting like that in the industry until Steve Wang did it. So again, Steve Wang, another one that came out of Stan Winston Studios, So the legacy that Stan created and has carried on is huge. It's immeasurable, the artist. Every artist, who's somebody in effects has worked at Stan's, except me. I almost did. Almost. I had an interview. They just didn't have any work at the time. And I didn't get a chance to meet Stan. I was going to meet him. I was recommended to go over there from Joey Orozco, who's another super amazing, talented artist that came out of Stan's. One of the main sculptors was Joey Orozco, who was just absolutely incredible. He sent me over there. Dave Grasso, another amazing artist that came out of Stan Winston's, who still works in effects. So that's the other side. And the animatronics side of Stan Winston Studios that came out of there, oh man. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's endless, the amount of talent. So they did Pumpkinhead, obviously. We talked about that. Here's Tom in the suit, trying out the suit, doing some poses. Original sculpture, Tom sculpting the baby. Anyway, the whole point is this Stan Winston and the legacy he created and the everlasting effect of the creatures and things that he's created will live on forever, no doubt, and impact us, throughout the time of effects and makeup and creatures and all that. So anyway, this I love. This I would love to see this Planet of the Apes movie right here, which I believe this was actually drawn by Crash McCreary. I mean, that is sick. Almost like these dinosaur creatures and then these apes, like barbarian apes riding horses. Holy shit, that's insane. Like, what if you took Planet of the Apes into a barbaric era? That's imaginative to me, like right there. That's imaginative. I would see that movie all day long. Speaking of Joey, there he is, right there, working on an ape. So again, the work that came out of this studio, the art, it's incredible. And
Galaxy Quest creatures, right?
Galaxy Quest was done there. Yep, there were so many films.
This movie gets more and more legit every time I hear about it.
Yeah, Interview with a Vampire, AI, tons of stuff. Aaron Sims was working there. There's just so many amazing artists that came out of the studio. So Stan, from what I hear, he was like a, kind of like a father figure type of guy. So he had a great impact on a lot of these artists that worked there as well, and a good relationship. He would keep, from what I understood, when he liked an artist, he'd have an artist that he would keep them. He'd have them hang around. Andy Schoenberg, another amazing artist that came out of there. Is that Kevin McTurk right there? I think it is. Yeah. So tons and tons of amazing people. So here's I love this shot. Arnold. No, this one's the great one where Arnold's arms are behind Stan and he's got his arms pulled behind his back. So it looks like his arms. That's awesome. These pictures are amazing, man. Just to see him smiling like that. That's who he was. I remember when I had my interview, I could hear Stan up in his office just laughing so loud. He had this crazy laugh that I could tell was infective, like infectious. Anyway, Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet him, but I know his son fairly well, Matt Winston. Great guy, great bunch of guys. And so, yeah, here's to Stan Winston Studios and all the crazy, crazy awesome work that this studio has done and created over the years, and the artists there that have come from the shop. Cannot thank Stan Winston enough for all the inspiration that has come from him and his shop. So here's to you, Stan. We miss you. Awesome guy. All right. So let's get into some questions. And while we're answering questions, I'm going to sculpt away because if you know me, I'm very unhappy with this right now, and I want to get it somewhere good. So we spend a few minutes sculpting, and we'll answer questions too. Sam will feed me questions, and yep. I'm gonna eat them. And I'll see if I can make some progress here.
So, for questions tonight, and be sure, guys, if you're still in the chats, hit us up with any questions you might have if you haven't already asked them. We'll be answering some questions for about another 10 or so minutes.
Yeah.
So our first question comes from JP, and JP asks, with wet clay, do you prefer wood or metal tools?
Both, actually. In the beginning, I'll kind of use some wood tools just to block things out. This tool here has some teeth on one side, and it's just a spoon. And it's just to push things around where my fingers can't get. Mostly, I'll just use my fingers for a long, long time until I get to a point where I need to get something into places that in a more refined way. And then once I get to that point, then I start switching to tools. But I like metal tools as well. And these tools I'm using are all bigger, broader stroke type tools, for bigger areas. And as I go and get more refined, I'll start going to smaller tools eventually and working with smaller tools. So I like both. They just both are different, All
right. Our next question comes from Chad Smith. Chad Smith, and this is actually one that people were chit-chatting about earlier in the chats, but looking to get your perspective on it. Chad says, I'm good at sculpting, but I'm bad at drawing. I'm told that if I can sculpt, I can also draw because there's really no difference in the two. That's what this person hears. They're asking, should I up my drawing skills to see if it helps up my sculpting ability?
Okay, so I'm not the best illustrator in the world for sure. Some sculptors can also illustrate like crazy good, and crazy really good. So I hear you. Definitely, I'm in that same boat. I'm not the strongest illustrator for sure. I have a lot to learn still. I just didn't focus on that side very much in my art career, which is kind of a mistake for sure. I would definitely recommend strengthening that skill as best as you can, because it is helpful. If you can draw, you can sculpt. If you can sculpt, you can draw. Not true. Not true at all. I know many sculptors that cannot draw and many illustrators that cannot sculpt. So, and then I know some guys that can do both. Some can do it equally well, some cannot. It's all over the place. But a lot of the time, if someone is a full-time illustrator, chances are they won't be a full-time sculptor. I mean, not to say there aren't some. There are for sure some. Some artists out there really strengthen all their assets of art, from 2D all the way up. So it's definitely a good skill to have. And you can run into some struggles later on if you don't have a good illustrating background. I've run into it myself where I need to get something out. So oftentimes what I have to do, my sort of handicap, is just grab Sculpey and sculpt a small head. Like let's say for instance, let's say I wanted to do this mask and I couldn't draw it because I just suck at drawing or whatever it is. I would have had to just sculpt it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but drawing can be a little faster and a little more loose, and you can get quick ideas down. I mean, you can also rough sketch in clay for sure, but drawing is definitely helpful. Now, the other thing is though, I can tell you, as I've gotten better at drawing over the years, practicing when I can, which I have done, and I was working on quite a bit. The one thing is they help each other out. So like the more you draw, the more it can help your sculpting, and vice versa. Your sculpting can help your drawing. But it's not true that, if you can do one, you can do the other equally well or something like that. That's not true. Because I've seen too many guys that cannot do both, and I've seen where there are guys that can. But the guys that can practice both of those things equally, in a way, like pretty much spent the time to get good at both. And that's what it takes. It takes time and practice to get good at anything. So therefore, if you spend a lot of time sculpting, you should probably take a break and spend a little bit more time drawing, just to keep keep growing with that too, because it will help later in design process and stuff like that, for sure.
All right, and our next question comes from Louis Becker. Louis asks,
what up, Louis? What up, Louis?
Where'd you get the eyes from? The ones that you're actually working with.
Geez, these are so old. I don't know. No, they're so old. Okay, wait a minute. These eyes actually I got from Michael's craft store. These marble things, or whatever these are called. I got these from Michael's years ago though. Like, I mean, many years ago. And then the smaller eyes here, I have like these. I just got a human, like a human shaped eye, and made a mold and casted them. But I forget where I got the human eye from. I don't recall. Might have been an effect shop or something. I just molded and casted so I could have my own, like blanks, basically. Yeah, but you can get eyes like, effect shops, or you could just use, like, this is just a marble, from a craft store. So, you can do that too.
Our next question comes from Bill Miller. Bill asks, what's your preferred sealer on wet clay before you mold?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. So a lot of people think the best thing to use, or a lot of people just not think, but they use, is as a standard practice, crystal clear. I don't use that. I've come to hate using crystal clear over the years because it causes so many problems. And I found that it's just totally unnecessary to use that product, because I mean, some of the problems that it can cause is, if people are somewhat familiar with mask making, it can stick to the mold surface, and which they call traveling to the mold surface, so it gets stuck on your detail layer, and then you have to like scrub it out to, with acetone or something, to get that out of there. But and also it's very thick and it takes forever to dry, and blah 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 blah, and all these things. So crystal clear, I found I've gone away from, and I've tried so many different sealers over the years. Now I've tried so many different ideas and things, and funny enough, I was teaching a class a few years ago, and I ran out of crystal clear, and I didn't, and I had this class, I forgot to order some, and so I didn't have any. And all I had, funny enough, was matte spray, Krylon matte spray. Same company that makes crystal clear, but they make a spray called matte. And I said, well, we're just gonna have to use this. I don't know, I mean, that's all there is to it. And I had been trying all kinds of different sealers and things and different techniques up until that point, and some worked really well and some I didn't like. But anyway, so long story short, we used the matte spray on everyone's sculpture, and funny enough, Holy moly, I could not believe it. The clay came out of the mold so clean and so easily that I've never gone back to anything else. So that's what I use. Krylon matte. And it dries fast. You just need a couple light coats. And then on top of that, I put a light layer of doling spray by Krylon, which I'm hearing they're not making anymore, but I don't know if that's true. But doling spray, a couple light coats. And then I make my mold. And it comes out perfect and super clean. You don't have to like scrub the mold out with any chemicals or anything weird. It just comes right out. Super, super easy and simple to do. That's it. Try it out. Yeah.
Our next question comes from Mauricio Chavez. Mauricio is asking, Casey, can you explain a little of Steve Wang's Predator painting process, if you know?
Steve Wang's painting process?
Yeah, for the Predator.
Well, one thing I can tell you guys on my website, I don't think I put those pictures up yet. I'm putting up Predator pictures. I had to paint a Predator similar to Steve's from the original. When we worked on Predators at K&B, I worked on that film at K&B back in 2009. I got to paint the classic Predator, which was not the Predator from the first movie, but from the same style of Predator, like Clan, if you will. So that they wanted that look, without copying the patterns and all that, but that look. So, and I had several conversations with Steve just prior, years prior about the look of the Predator and the painting and all that. So he had told me like, oh yeah, I just put this color, that color, blah, blah, blah. And he told me some funny stories, about that. And so when he first started painting it, it was I think he based it, if I recall correctly, he based the suit, like a oyster white or something like that. I think it was like a oyster white or like an off white. And then on the back of the Predator, leading around to the middle front, it was like a bright burnt orange tone, like a very bright. And he told me that when he was painting the orange tone on the skin, which started very orange and then broke up into to spots and stuff, he said Matt Rose was not digging it. Matt was like, hey, like, what are you doing? Why is it like crazy orange? And Steve was like, well, all right, well, hang on a minute. Let me establish it, and you'll understand. You'll get it. When I'm done, you'll get it. You'll understand why I did that. Because Steve already had in his mind the layers. He was gonna layer this thing to look like, this amphibian-ish skin. And Matt didn't know what he was doing. He was just like, what is he doing? Crazy colors. And so then, of course, by the time Steve got done, Matt was like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it, but what it was is like he used this burnt orange and he used some green, green green vein color in between, down in for like veins and stuff. And there was even like a grayish, looked like to me a grayish blue hue, very in between all the muscles of the body and stuff. It wasn't in the head though, but it was definitely in the body between all the muscles. If you look very closely, it's like a kind of bluish hue, like bluish gray hue, and which is like an amphibian, like a frog. If you look at frogs, they'll have that. And I'm pretty sure that's the kind of stuff Steve was referencing. Mm-hmm. So, and then there was a yellowish tone coming, what looked like out of the orange a little bit. And then Steve told me very specifically, and this is where a lot of people mess up with Predator. They try to make all the spots brown, and Steve clearly told me they are not brown. There's no brown on the Predator, except for on the head. There's like a caramel spotted color, like a caramel color. But on the body, there's no brown. it's pure black spots.
Hmm.
So that when you're done, and I remember one of the guys working there, Shannon had told me, you know, he was working on Predator at Stan Winston's. He remember he told me when he walked in and saw Steve's paint job for the first time, he said it looked like a tuxedo because it was like white and black, you know. That's what he remembers it looking like. Not, you know, actually a tuxedo, but because the shocking white to black. But then it has all these, you know, burnt orange and a little bit of yellows and the blue and in between the muscles and then the green veins, and so it looks all layered. And so you gotta layer it. You know, the off-white, then the orange, then all the stuff in the muscles and stuff like that, which you probably could do that first. I think when I did the paint job, I did that first. I layered everything in between the muscles first. Then I did the orange, the burnt orange tone, and then started laying in all the spots, coming around the rib cage, all these little island, like different shaped spots they're like little island shapes that create bigger island shapes, which were the patterns. On the back of the Predator is pretty much solid black, you know, like over the orange. There wasn't too much. It was like spots that bled together very, very tightly. So it's like tight spots that bleed almost solid and then break up as they come around the body. And that's what I did when I did Predators at and I remember showing it to Steve, and he was like, he was very proud of it. He was like, that's how the Predator should be painted, you know, that's how it was done. And so I was very, very much stoked to hear him say that he was super proud of that piece, that paint job, because I was very proud. It took me like 4 or 5 days to paint that whole suit by myself. It was insane. And then I think Steve said, "Oh, I painted it in 3 days." I was like, "Sure you did." I'm sure you did. Steve was fast at painting for sure. Anyway, that's what I recall as far as it goes. I will be posting some images on my website soon. Right now I have the Mr. Black suit up there posted, which is, if you guys remember Predators, there was a black berserker Predator that everybody dug, and I painted that suit, and then Joey Orozco painted the head. And but I established the suit, the look of the suit. It was like black, white, and fire red. And I remember too, I posted some pictures up on my site too that show that we took after I painted the original Predator suit. We put the other suits next to it, and you could see how dull those suits were looking, and were not living up to looking to you know, these were like new badass Predators that had to be better and better looking and more interesting than the old Predator. And I remember that was the challenge, like, how do we make them stand out and look as cool as him? So we had to immensely pump up the paint jobs. So the Mr. Black, he's not even really black, he's like black, pure white, and then his back has got like greens and reds and all kinds of different colors, but his front is like black, white, red, fire red, orange. You know, there was a whole bunch of those colors in there to make him look more badass and interesting.
All right, and that is about it for questions tonight.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I didn't get as far as I wanted on this sculpture. I'm gonna have to play with this bad boy a little bit. I think what we'll do is I'll have to we could always do another episode, or because I can tell this is gonna take some time for me to figure out how I'm gonna achieve this. Oh, you know what? Let's post. Is there everyone still on there?
Yeah.
Let's show them what the drawing looks like.
Oh, sure.
If there's a way to do it, like, can we post the drawing?
Yes. Let's see. You have to try texting it to yourself, and then I can probably toss it up here.
Or you know what? It's on my desktop.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Let me show you where, because then we can just grab it.
Sure.
And we can kind of show them what the hell I'm doing. Oh, wait.
This one right here?
So this is a drawing that I did rather quickly. I would say an hour, roughly. So this will give you guys, because you're not really seeing what this is going to become, but this will give you a good sense of what it's going to be in the end, or what I'm going for anyway.
There we go.
Okay, so we got it up.
Make it slightly
Cool.
bigger, yeah. Probably crop it in. Yeah, they're seeing it right now.
Okay, so this is a mask. This is like this boogeyman mask thing I'm doing. This is what he's gonna end up looking like, basically. I gotta play with the teeth placement and some things, but this was the concept that I drew. And now it might make a lot more sense when you see it. When you see this, you might be like, ah, okay, I get it. I gotta push these eyes in further. That's one of the issues. And then once I start establishing, like, you know, some
There we go.
teeth. Let me throw some teeth in for them real quick, just for the hell of it. Just because then they'll start to see, you know, it'll change quite a bit if I just do this. Even though these aren't perfect or anything, it'll help. To see it.
Yeah, everybody's liking it.
Cool.
They really dig that concept, yeah.
Yeah, I know the sculpt isn't living up to that concept yet, but it will. Believe me. I'll get it there. I'll get it there. But it takes a lot of time. Like, I spend a lot of time, you know, and I'm not shy about telling this because I'm not like, I don't try to be. Back in the day, I tried to be super fast sculptor, but now I don't try that anymore. I don't care if it's to speed and be, you know, like fast and all that. That's impressive and everything, but I'm not into that. I'm just into getting it right. So I'll play with this design quite a bit, you know, tweaking things and pushing things around until I get it right. So that's more important to me, is that it ends up looking like the design. What has he got? He's got like this big tooth down on the bottom here. He's got like a big canine here. Kind of thing. I'm just gonna throw teeth on here just so you guys can see something. And I'm thinking this lower set of teeth is actually pushed out. Can't really see it in the drawing too well, but I think these are jutted. Like, he's got like a huge underbite. So like, I push these teeth back, actually, these upper teeth, and then so this would be like a huge underbite, which is stretching this lower lip out, and then he's got rows of teeth, not just an underbite, but he's got like 2 rows of teeth down here, which are weird. But I guess people get it now that they see the drawing. Funny enough, one of the areas I probably spend a lot of time getting right and to feel fleshy and realistic is the nasal folds, these folds. For some reason, they take me a lot of effort to get them to feel right the way I want them. And you know, it's funny. Here's another mask I did. Let me show them this mask. because you know, this mask started off the same way. You know, this mask started off very crude and rough as an idea. Hey, your eyebrow's coming off, buddy. What the hell? Oh, there, you just lost some eyebrow. Have to glue that back on. So this was like a hide mask that I did that has this weird, you know, teeth growing this way, and he's kind of in pain on this side, and so you know, it's much smaller. You can see this mask just fits me like a glove, super tight. So you can see I'm making this bigger just because if I kept this too small, it would be too small for people. This has got to be able to fit people. But anyway, you see, you know, how rough the sculpture can start, and then eventually it'll go to something like this. And there's some similarities. You know, this is probably one of my similar design sense things where, you know, this asymmetry, there's a similarity in this new design, but different, still a little different, where the lip is torn away, whereas this guy's lip is torn away. It's the same side. I should probably change that, because that's something I just love to do for some reason on that side. I don't know why, but there you go. But yeah, I gotta. You can see just by looking at this design, this mask, you know, what this mask will get to in the end as far as like refinement and stuff. You can see like the brows feels crunched, and it feels like skin and flesh. So he'll have that level of attention to him in the end, plus hair, which will fill out the rest of the mask. Anyway, that's it, guys. We'll have to call it a night. Sorry I didn't get further. Wish I got a little bit further on this design for you, but there's a lot to do and figure out for me on this one for sure. It's going to take some time and some work to get this locked in. The cool thing is I'll be selling this as a wearable mask at some point. That's the cool thing. You know, nice. It'll be painted so that it can be, you know, flexed and worn and all that. I mean, I should have this out in time for Halloween this year for sure. But yeah, so that's about it for tonight's Monday Night Monster Jam. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we will be back next week. Who knows? Maybe I'll keep jamming on this guy. We can ask everybody in the chat, do they want to see more of this guy, or do they want us to do something else?
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you guys want to see Casey continue working on him. Yeah,
definitely let us know in the comments, because I don't mind continuing to work on this, or we can move on to something else. So there you have it, guys. We are going to call it a night before it gets too late. And I appreciate all you guys hanging with us tonight. I appreciate all the questions. And
looking like it's a resounding hell yes from a lot of people.
Oh, really? Definitely. Okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome. That's good to know. That's awesome,
They're
man.
saying yes, more Eddie.
More Eddie. Okay, more Cromwell. I'm going to call the mask Cromwell for sure. You know, that's his name, Cromwell. It just fits him. Cromwell. All right, yeah, we'll continue next week on this guy, guys, and we'll just keep going forward with it, and you guys can see a lot more progress of how this is going to develop, which is cool. Cool, awesome. So from us here in the studio, we appreciate everything. Please like and subscribe as always. If you haven't subscribed, please help us out and do that. That'd be tremendous help. Leave comments for us in the message area of YouTube, and I'll try and get to those as soon as I can. And let us know any content you'd like to see that you haven't already seen. Please check out our other episodes.
For sure.
We have 18 of them up there for you. This is number 19. And yeah, just... Oh, also, check out our Facebook page. If you didn't know, we have a Facebook page called Monday Night Monster Jam. And you can check that out on Facebook and join. If you're not a member yet, join that page. That's a great page. There's a lot of, like, 800 people on there posting new work all the time, daily. sharing tips, techniques. It's a great place to join and stay in touch with Monday Night Monster Jam when we're not live. If you'd like to check out more of my work, you can do so on my Instagram page, caseylove designs. And if you'd like to, let's see.
Sign up for your class.
Oh, if you'd like to, thanks, Sam.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember everything. If you'd like to sign up for my upcoming mask painting class, that is where you learn to paint a Halloween mask, not Michael Myers. It's a monster mask. Go to my website, caseylovemonsters.com, and go to in-person classes up above, and that'll take you to the sign-up page where you can sign up for my upcoming class. The class is really cool. You get a mask, a copy of the mask. You get a set of paints that come with the class, and then you just bring your airbrush and your supplies to class and spend all day with me painting masks, and it's a lot of fun. And then you're ready for Halloween.
Yep.
Ready to scare everyone. All right, guys. Thank you so much again. We will see you next week. Sounds like a resounding yes to sculpting more on Eddie Cromwell. Cromwell. So, okay, we'll be back with more of this monstery boogeyman next Monday. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Peace.